Hi all, just a mini update and my Q&A. But before I get into that, I'm just going to quickly give some shout outs that people have asked me. So the first one is for Charlie Company Wargaming. He does Gaslands and historical. He's just started doing some historical stuff. Perry Miniatures. He's got a little tutorial on there and a little showcase. So well worth checking out. Go and check him out if you can. Charlie Company Wargaming. You'll find him in the comments. Bedroom Railway Mat. I think he's been around for a while. Watching his videos for a long time now. Great stuff. Does bolt action, Napoleonics, scenery. He also does railway stuff as well. But yeah, great channel. Go and check him out. Bedroom Railway Mat. Next one is the Michigander. I hope I pronounced that right, mate. I'm guessing you're from Michigan. Could be completely wrong, of course. And he's got he's a new guy, relatively new channel. He's got British Napoleonics he's doing at the minute. He's just put a tutorial up how he paints his British naps. Very insightful, so go and have a look at that as well. And the last one is for Brush and Quill. And he's doing at the minute, he does loads of different stuff, historical Games Workshop and all sorts of stuff. But he's doing a World War One group build at the minute, or group paint, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the end of World War One. So yeah, go and check his channel out and join in that if you can. I can't admit, I just haven't got the time, and I don't even own a single World War One miniature, which is strange. But yeah, I haven't got the time. I'd love to join in, but I just have not got the time. But if you can join in, go and do it. Right, without further ado, oh, in fact, there will be further ado, because very quickly, I want to show you, last video I mentioned I've changed my recipe for painting white. So this is my Portuguese officer for my first Peninsula unit of Portuguese. And I've got a new method of painting white. All I've done is added one extra layer really. But for anyone that's interested, I start off with Sky Grey layer. Then I do Army Painter Strong Tone. Then I go back over with Sky Grey. And then a new addition, which is GW Ulthuan Grey. And then finally, Off-White. And I just think it gives you a nicer shading, a little bit more subtle. So I'll be doing all of them that way now. I quite like that. So that's that. So right now I'm going to go on to the Q&A. So the first question is from Lee Hughes, and he asked me, what is my favourite film? My favourite film, I've got quite a few. I like Lord of the Rings films, Zulu, but I'd say my all-time favourite film is probably A Bridge Too Far. Yeah, I really like that. I wish there were more Napoleonic films, but there aren't. But yeah, A Bridge Too Far. Merry Hinge. It would be, hi mate, it would be interesting to hear a bit about your Napoleonic rules, maybe an insight into how they work and how I'm getting on with them. Oh mate, I could go on for hours and hours and hours. Let's try and cut it down a bit then. So, I'm not reinventing the wheel. If you played Napoleonic games or ancients and anything, it's just basically the same sort of system of command and control where you issue orders to your battalions, brigades, and they either carry them out or they don't. So yeah, that's kind of like what most people would be used to. I've got 3 troop types, which are green, regular, and veteran. So again, you could probably be used to that kind of mechanic. I have written something in for the green troops, because there's lots of historical accounts of real recruits and militia, and just fighting like demons, and outperforming regulars and veterans. So I've wrote a little mechanic in so that your green troops can get better. So as for the troop types, so how they work is they work on actions basically, and then the better your troops are, the more actions they can perform in any given game turn. So obviously, you know, your veterans are going to be able to do more stuff because they're better trained. You know, they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it. So they are going to perform better. It's just the way it is. So yeah, it works on actions. And it's an objective-based game. So before, you know, you'll set up your gaming table however you want it. Then you'll place objectives depending on the scenario. You know, some will have 1 or 2 objectives, some will have 6 for argument's sake. Then you'll randomly generate which objectives it is that you need to get during the battle, each side, and then, you know, you'll fight over them objectives, and, you know, the chances are that you're going to be fighting over the same objectives in some cases, which, you know, is great because there's lots of carnage that way. But it also works well if you're playing solo games because, I mean, I play solo games. I'm always biased towards the British. I can't help myself. I just do it. So the British always win. They very rarely move because they are a really good defensive army. But with it being objectives, you've got to move because you've got to capture them objectives. And, you know, the opponent's doing the same and you know what their objectives are. So, I mean, you can do it, not when you play on your own. You can do it in secret when you play with somebody else and you can just secretly roll your objectives and then you can put feint moves in and it makes it really tactical. But obviously playing on your own, you're going to know what the opponent's going for. And then when, you know, if you play British and you're biased like me against, I don't know, Russians or somebody, because it's all imaginations, it's not, I don't follow any historical battles. You don't act as biased because you've got clear objectives and that's what you got to do. So that's how that works. And then I haven't looked at Black Powder 2. I don't want it to influence me in any way, shape or form. But there's some things that I don't like in Black Powder, which is why I use my own rules. One of them is the movement, where you can, if you get off decent orders, your troops can basically move 3/4 of the way across the battlefield. It's just ridiculous. You've got infantry moving faster than cavalry. It's just one thing I don't like. So my guys can't do that. I don't like the way they form square. That if your battalion is threatened by cavalry, it just automatically goes into square. I don't like that. I like the you know, if you're in command of that battalion and there's cavalry about and you haven't put it into square, that's your own fault, mate. And if they get wiped out, then you should have put them into square, shouldn't you? So that's just a couple of things that are different with mine. I'm not going to go into too much because I could talk for hours about this, but yeah, they're the basic differences and kind of how it works. It's command and control and action based, so you know, that's that. How am I getting on with them? I've been playing these for about 10, 15 years, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. Well, definitely more than 10. So everything's written down on paper. I've just got to type it all up, which I've started doing, but not next week, but the week after. I'm on nights, or rather not this week, but the week after I'm on nights. So I do 11-hour shifts, 7 days straight. And there's not a lot to do, so I hope my boss isn't watching, but I'll probably use quite a bit of that time. I should get about 7 hours a night spare, where I will type up my rules. So yeah, that's that. Next question is from Victor C. Sinner. Hi, Victor. Excuse me. Hi, Victor. What got you into painting gaming? I'm not going to go on too much about this because I've got a video out there. It's why I got into war, or how I got into wargaming. It's in my video playlist somewhere. Not playlist, but in the archives. So if you have a look through that, it gives you a bit more of an insight. But basically, like most of us, I was always into modelling and toy soldiers. And then one day I was walking through my hometown and I saw an ad in GW, Games Workshop, in their window saying training managers wanted. and I just applied for the job and I got it. And so that kind of really got me into the gaming side of things more than anything else. As for painting, I was not a great painter. I mean, still don't think I'm that great now. I'm okay, but I wasn't great before GW. So I learnt a lot there, to be honest. I had a couple of guys in the shop that were really good at painting, so they gave me a few tips and that, and then I just took it from there. I never knew about inks or highlighting or anything like that before that. And then that really got me into the gaming side of things. So that's that. Games with Sarge. Have you considered modelling the War of 1812? So the answer to that is yes. You know, the War of 1812, we don't really know much about that, or I certainly don't know much about that in the UK. It's not taught in schools or anything like that. So it's something I'm quite interested in. I need to know a lot more about it. I don't know that much yet, but I'm starting to look into it, which is why I've done my British Royal Marines 1812, and my intention is to finish off these Marines with the artillery and rockets and whatnot, and then I'm going to do the American side of 1812 with their infantry and Marines, etc. And then I'd like to do, you know, the militia, the colonial militia, the Canadian ones, the Native Americans, all that sort of stuff. I'd love to do that. I know there are a lot of good models out there, so I'll maybe pick and choose what I do. But I would like to do the full range. So I'll probably be bugging you actually with loads of questions on that. But yeah, so it's something I'm interested in and I am going to be doing. Brush and Quill, what book, TVs or films, army soldiers do you wish existed as tabletop models or a tabletop game? Hi mate, so yeah, I've got a book here, I'm going to show you. I'd love to do these myself one day, if I get permission and if I have the money. But what I'd like to do is Harry Turtledove, Through the Darkness. It's for the Into the Darkness series of books that he did. I don't know if you've read Harry Turtledove before. He's a great author, and the Into the Darkness is probably my favourite ones that he does. He also does like alternate history, World War I. He does an alternate history of the American Civil War, where the Rebs win. Yeah, great books. So I'd highly recommend Harry Turtledove if you haven't read it before, and I'd love to do the Into the Darkness. It's like a World War I based, but instead of aircraft they have dragons. Instead of tanks they use beer moths, and they've got sea monsters. It's a fantastic book, and I'd love to do that. But if you've never read Harry Turtledove before, just a quick warning: when you get to the end of a book of Harry Turtledove's, you read the last chapter, and that's basically what you've done, is just read the last chapter. None of the books have an ending as such, you know. It doesn't lead on to the next, it just leads on to the next chapter. So like, I think there's about 7 books in that series, so it's all really one great big book, and it doesn't have an ending right until the very end of the last book. But definitely worth reading. They're great, well written, and I would love to do them someday if I ever get the money and permission as a miniature range. Chris Waring, where or how do you store all your completed figures? Or you do put them away or on display? Chris, do you know what, mate? I just put them in boxes. I've got these plastic, really useful boxes, and I just put them in there. I'd love to put them on display, but I just haven't got anywhere to put them. I've got some IKEA glass cabinets. I bought some of them. But if you leave them in there, they're in the conservatory, and the models just start to get sun bleached, and I don't like that, because then you have to paint them again. And painting has never been my favourite part of the hobby anyway. I'm more of a gamer than a painter. So yeah, I did buy some IKEA little wall cabinet things. Hang on, I've got one there. So I bought them from IKEA. They're only 12 quid, but I've only got a couple of them, so I ain't got a lot of models out. Yeah, they just go in boxes. Sad. If I had a gaming room, I would put them in a gaming room, but I just haven't got the money. or the room. Could convert one of my rooms to a gaming room, or I mean I could do my garage, but again it's money. It's going to cost money and I just haven't got it. I'll just have to win the lottery, buy a bigger house and make a purpose-built gaming room. So yeah, that's that. That was all the questions. Thanks everyone for sending questions. Weren't that many this time, but thank you anyway for the guys that did. It was very nice of you. I hope I've answered them to your satisfaction and not bored the pants off you. And then right at the end here, I'm just going to show you, this is a test print of my raw marines. Now this is done low res on a 3D printer, so the actual finished article will be a lot higher res than this. I just wanted to do this test print to give me an idea of scale. And I've given him the Agincourt salute, as I like to call it. So as you can see, he's a bit small, which is why I'm glad I did a test run of them, because I'd have lost an absolute fortune if I'd have printed them all out and they're all the wrong scale, and then I've had to get them all done again. So I've done one. They're getting scaled up, so they should be, next time I do a test print, they will be the right size. So that's where they're at the minute. So again, thank you everyone for watching. I'm halfway through these Portuguese now. I've got a little bit of the way with the other ones. I've done all the clothing and everything else. I've just got the flash to do, gold and white, and they'll all be done. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Catch you on the next one.